That works. Hi, y'all.
What's up, dudes?
Starting stream hell. I mean, there we are. We are on YouTube. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Ramblin down Rainbow Road. My name is Grace Bowen. I'm your host, and this is my guest, Ariel Peguero. Is that right?
Ariel Peguero. Yep.
Ariel was just telling me how he asks people to use the correct pronunciation with his name. I will say because it's respectful, but also to make white people uncomfortable and put us in our place, which is totally fine. And it's my bad that I don't have good pronunciation because I rely on living in the Midwest to keep me sheltered.
It's pretty good. I think it's a good icebreaker because it shows people like you know, there's really no boundaries. Like we can talk about anything. At least I hope it does. For some people, it doesn't work. But I don't know.
But then maybe those people are like overly defensive or something.
Yeah.
I feel like I could see how that would be a good icebreaker because like very quickly I want to know whether or not I can like be open and honest with somebody or if it's going to make them uncomfortable. Yeah,
exactly. Like it's better to put it all out there at first and then you know, we see what happens.
That's why when I came in,
sometimes it doesn't work.
I was talking about some explicit things that we can't talk about on the internet. I just threw it out there just to see, and you were too busy doing something else, which is fine. That's a good response.
You talk about the bondage stuff. Yeah, that was pretty funny. But I don't know.
Well, so you went to CCAD with a design major and fine art minor, is that right?
Yes.
I just read that on your website a few minutes ago.
You did. I caught you with the thing. But, yes, so I went there at first, like, you know how they make you, like, submit the portfolio and all that stuff? Like, I went at first to do fine arts, like, I was pretty good at drawing stuff, and, like, I can do portraits and shit pretty well. And then I eventually got into watercolors, and that's kind of what I focus in. Like that little dude over there. But, then I usually, like, I get interested in a bunch of different things at once. So, like, sometimes I'll focus on one thing for a while, and then I'll focus on another thing for a while, and then I'll focus on another thing. So, like, I don't know, but I went there for fine arts, and then at the same time I was thinking, like, okay, what else can I do to learn something? And a lot of the advisor was telling me, he was like, well, you can do graphic design, and, like, you can get internships and stuff while you're in school, and that'll probably help you pay for stuff. And so I just kept that in the back of my head, and then that's what I did, you know, like, it's kind of weird because I didn't feel like I was in the right place when I was doing the ad stuff because it was on computers and, like, I was used to working with my hands a bunch. But then eventually it just made sense. Like, I don't know.
Do you remember, like, a moment when it clicked for you?
The designing stuff?
Yeah, like, working on a computer and understanding how computers think, or I'm projecting my own experience, but...
I don't know, I feel like it kind of just happened. Like, I just made my body do it enough that it just was like, okay, I get it now. It's not as... I used to, like, really think about it a lot, but then I think I trained my brain to just be like, it's not that serious sometimes, and you can just kind of focus on learning one thing. Like, before I didn't really learn how to use my computer that much, I kind of just learned how to use the programs on it, and then eventually I started learning, like, okay, I can upgrade this part, and I can, like, and that'll help me, I can run this program that lets me use a bunch of other shit. So I figured that out, and then it kind of turned into more of a tool than just making stuff for money and, like, making stuff for school, you know? And then I felt like I was just wasting my time in school. Like, once I learned how to figure out how to get a job from it, or how to just make something for somebody, or, like, offer the service, I was like, what am I doing here?
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you drop out?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I kept going. I was like, and that, I think it's because of my parents. I knew, like, my parents were really good at the guilt trip thing. And I know they would have just shunned me, and they have, like, It's
fuck. That's
insane.
A lot of pressure.
It's insane. They're really good at putting pressure on you. Like immigrant parents are super good at that shit. They're like, we did way too much shit to bring y'all over here to what's it called? To make sure like it's better over here than it was over there. Mm-hmm. Which a lot of the times it's exaggerated, but it's true. So like that played a huge part in still going there and like getting the degree and figuring that out, but I think about it every day where I'm like, I could have just been doing this shit if I stayed on YouTube or like just researched more, you know, and figured out how to do it and made myself do it rather than listening to some dude trying to tell me to go do it, you know.
Dude, I feel like we had the same experience in college.
It's insane.
Because I did all the exact same thing, the exact same points. Yeah.
Like, I would go to the fine arts critiques and I would take fucking, what's it called? I would do my design classes in the morning and then at night I would be doing shop classes. Like, I would literally go from ad classes to jewelry making and then to welding.
That's so cool.
I was like, this is kind of rad.
Living like a weird double life.
Yeah.
Me too, dude. In school,
insane.
seriously.
For real.
And it was like I would spend late nights in the sculpture studio, like with the people I actually wanted to spend my time with. Dude, and then like my day job was going to design class and getting my ass beat in critique because my professors are sociopaths.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's
like
so nuts. Yeah. It's true. It's true. Like, it was weird. It was a nice release. Like, but at the same time, I couldn't imagine it any other way because then it kind of they both gave me like different things to, like they fed off of each other. You know, it's like cross training for something. Like,
man, I wish I felt that. I don't relate to.
Once I figured that out, that's probably when it started clicking. And I was like, okay, well, I can. If I learn how to make, like for example, if I learn how to make. If I'm doing stuff with printmaking, I usually take a bunch of printmaking classes. If I do get all these textures, then I can just scan them and overlay them onto the digital stuff, and then it looks
like antique or texture
and stuff like that. And like that's a whole thing that people get into. And but yeah, so that's I don't know. That's kind of when it started clicking. I would say it's still kind of. Doesn't really stop clicking. You just like figure out something new every day if you make yourself.
Like if you keep working at it and trying new things and not arresting yourself with anxiety about failure.
Yeah, and that's what I think was kind of hard with school was you were always working up to a critique and like trying to work with people that weren't really trying to work with you or like we're trying to go party or some shit or whatever the case may be. Or their computer exploded on them, like that shit happened all the time. And all that pressure would take the fun out of it a lot of the times for me. Like I couldn't handle it after a while. Like there was a bunch of times I had some really shitty work. And like I'm glad that I had a place to get that all out. Go through that. Because now I know what it's like, and I don't have to be like, I don't have to show up to somewhere and be like, this is going to be terrible, and they're going to say shit about me.
Oh my god, I'm having flashbacks.
Dude, it's wild. It's so wild.
Like, I feel like the greatest lessons I learned in undergrad were how to YouTube things, and how to, like, investigate on my own. And because, like, our professors didn't teach us anything about the creative suite. We had to teach everything ourselves. On top
or
of...
if you took, like, a summer thing.
I didn't even do that.
Yeah,
I like literally taught myself everything.
I taught myself how to use that shit over the summer. Well, not really. They hired some lady to like make videos, and I had to take like a course over the summer.
I took one video class, and that like got me into Premiere, which got me in editing because I was already shooting.
I wish I would have taken a video class.
Yeah, it was kind of. I mean, it was just like the fundamentals and the rudimentary stuff of like how AV stuff works. But I learned how to Google stuff. I learned how to like eat shit and critique, and I learned how to deal with clients who had their own ideas and railroaded their ideas over your ideas. And those like clients were my professors.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That, well, like once I realized that like that the teachers were just fucking with you, and you had to just deal with their bullshit because they're representing the client, and then it makes it so much easier to make stuff.
Yeah.
But they don't really teach that. At least I didn't really get that.
Or it's...
I don't know if it was me, but...
I don't know. School sucks.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's hella weird. And then there's the whole like debt aligned to it that doesn't help anything.
The what that doesn't help anything?
Debt.
Oh yeah, I was lucky.
That
my
stuff?
parents paid for it.
Not I, my friend. Not I. It sucks, but I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job. It sucks so much. I get so much money all the time, but
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
At least you got the degree. You know, some people put themselves in debt to not get the degree.
That's very true. I don't know, there's a lot of shit that comes from it, but nowadays I'm trying to work more on, I don't know, like I was saying, I'm trying to learn more how to use the computer or the tools that I have as a thing to make art with rather than making art and putting it on there and doing it. That's one thing that I'm starting to get to, that I've always kind of been fighting. But now I'm starting to realize, like, it fits into my life right now, so I should just do that. And figure out how to make it physical, like with these things and like the augmented reality stuff. It makes it more, I don't know, it helps tie the two things, and then I feel like I'm connected on both sides of the coin rather than, you know, like before I felt like I was kind of fighting myself to be more authentic and do analog stuff. And that was like the fine art dude, and then the digital stuff is like, but you can make money with this real easily, real cheap, so just do this and learn how to make it. But then doing those two things at the same time has helped me morph it into one thing that I can feel comfortable with.
Then you are the coin, and not the sides of the coin, right?
Yes, I am the coin.
when I had Okel on, you like that? When I had Okel on, he was talking a little bit about like flexibility, and because he primarily like does stuff in physical space, right? Well, he still like illustrates in computers, but he was talking about how like if you have enough flexibility to be able to make an idea happen the way it should happen, then that's like a really big strength. Because you're not like limiting the idea's existence to the form that you're able to make the idea in. The idea is able to exist in the best way, in the best form that it wants to. Well, do you want to play this game?
Yeah, let's do it. That's pretty deep. I mean, it would be ideal to be able to just work on stuff without anything interrupting it, you know, like anything in your life.
Oh, whoops, that's might have been my bad. Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry. Damn, am I holding this? I'm holding this.
If you press, I think on yours it should be a minus. It's over there.
Oh. If I press it, what happens?
You see your stats. Oh, wait, not yet.
Oh.
I always jump the screen.
Wow. Ooh, look at Metal Mario.
I always do.
Dude.
Metal Mario is real heavy. I'm gonna be furry Mario.
I'm gonna be... I wish Dr. Mario was on here.
Hi, Zach!
Dude. I'll be...
Yeah, Zach, I don't know if you've played Mario Kart yet, but there are a lot of Mercedes for some reason. I don't know why.
It's Larry. I'll be Baby Luigi. Nice.
So now you can see your stats. Although last time I did this, you still beat me, so I don't know how much it actually helps.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm just gonna do my thing. And what kind of wings do I want? This sunflower looks pretty cool.
Yeah, Zach, it is classist. Zach, my friend who is interested in rip-off designer stuff, is saying it's classist that they have Mercedes cars in this. It's not only is it classist, it's just like disrespectful to the universe that these games exist in. Cause like, I don't like, what are you doing, Nintendo? What's your priority?
Nintendo. Dude. I'm surprised this shit has gone so far.
I'm making an executive decision. Cause like the thing we love about Nintendo products is that their games exist within the Nintendo universe. So how are you gonna break that by like just throwing some Mercedes in this game? Did you need money that bad? Like, what's going? Are you okay, Nintendo?
Dang. I mean, maybe their factory's over there now.
Mercedes factories? Where, in Japan?
Mm-hmm. Why
Maybe.
not?
I don't know.
You never know. Oh shit. Okay, here we go. I'm telling you, the trick is to turn.
You're gonna convince me to try that, actually. I'm trying to think of So Ariel and I don't know each other very well, which is, I think you're the first person I've had on that I can think of off the top of my head who I don't know, like, in a personal way.
I met you once before.
We've partied together twice.
That's very true. Twice. Damn, see, my memory's fine.
Ha!
Twice before. I was thinking of the last time. The Cam's thing.
Yeah. Last time was at a going away party for Cam Granger. That was such a good party because, like, Cam's such a beautiful person in large part because he can, like, bring so many different kinds of people together.
It's kind of nice, isn't it? I was thinking of those.
It was, like, so beautiful because that's...
What's this on my screen? Come on.
That's some, some squid excrement.
Ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Cheating stuff. Come on, I'm a baby.
But I'm sort of glad we didn't talk before because it was surreal for me to think that, like, someone else had my same experience of feeling like a misfit in a design program. I guess it's not that insane. That's creative.
Yeah, I feel like I know a bunch of people that feel that way, or at least can relate to it somehow. But
I feel like everyone I went to school with were normies.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Well, what do you mean?
Like, they were okay with ascribing to the status quo, and I was the only person who was like, why are we doing things this way? Why do we think this way? What are we actually, like, trying to get done here? What's the, like, meta-narrative that we're trying to like, make in terms of design in America?
Yeah, I mean, it was awkward. There was a bunch of people there that I, like, kind of realized why they were doing anything, but they were kind of just, they were doing the I'm going to art school thing.
And that was like, it wasn't about what they were doing in art school, it was just about being at art school?
It was just about being somewhere.
There were a lot of people at OSU who majored in art because they didn't know what else to do, and it definitely showed.
Yeah, man.
There are a lot of really great artists who come out of OSU, but
it's awkward.
It's awkward.
Like, it's a weird, like, it's hard to take that shit seriously in such a big environment. And, like, it doesn't help. Dang it, I'm over here trying.
I was watching you.
Stop, bro. You're
I keep going off the road because I'm
suspicious. Dang it, this squid. Who put that person there?
I'm happy to change the controls whenever you want.
No. It's the squid.
Okay.
It keeps squidding the screen. No. It was I feel like it was a realistic experience. Place.
I can't believe you beat. I mean, I can't believe you beat me because you did it before, but Zach, oh, thank you so much for watching, Zach, and, like, actually participating in this project. You're a really good friend, and I really appreciate you for it because you're literally, like, the first person who's asked the question on YouTube. Zach asks, what are your thoughts on an art or design program that focuses on craft more than content?
I feel like that's the way to go. I mean, you're still going to have to talk about content in a certain way because I'd say, like, digital stuff is a craft at some point. You figure out how to put things together and how to make programs run together and well, and, like, you have a good connection and all that shit. That there's a craft to that, and some people are amazing at it. But at the end of the day, people need stuff to, like, need to learn how to make stuff. They need to learn how to use their hands for things, because when all this shit hits the fan, what are you gonna do? Like, you gotta
like, in
know
an
how to use
apocalyptic sense, or
any sense, like, especially that one. But it's just, I don't know, like, there's only so much you can do with computer shit before it's obsolete, and you need to learn how to do a skill. Not even obsolete, just doesn't make sense in your life. Well, there's a bunch of people here that'll study engineering and all that shit, and then never leave their home, and then they have a degree for the wrong place, and living in the wrong place. You know what I mean?
Like if you only design stuff in CAD software and you never really see how your designs come to like real life, then you never see how they're actually used in real life, and products end up like not making sense.
Yeah.
Where things end up not looking right in print to scale versus like a theoretical graphic of something.
Yes, exactly. It's just like
engineers and industrial designers do that all the time. Just like either come up with solutions for problems that don't exist, or come up with bad solutions that like barely address the deeper issue of the problem. For example, like, do you remember how the old MacBook chargers used to like fray at the same point where it connected with the brick of the charger?
Yeah, just like the
yeah, and they solved that by like disconnecting the cord from the brick entirely, so when you stored it, you took them apart. Like, that's the real solution.
Straight up.
But there were some students, I guess, like, this is a poor example because it's a quick fix for a dumb problem. That's not your design problem in the first place. But there are some students at OSU who like made a startup out of making like a plastic attachment that like that kept the cord stiff. So it didn't fray.
Oh yeah, that little bungee thing that goes on the front of it. That's insane.
And like they were praised for like starting a company that's just like making this piece of plastic. I was like, this is so stupid.
They're making money on so many sides too.
Yeah.
Those things. Dang it! I keep getting smashed by stuff. I think I'm in last place right now.
I think they're 12, so you're not last. But you know what?
This road is hard.
You know what they say? If you eat first, you're last.
Shut up. I got the star now. What? Let's go. Come on. Get bigger or something. Is he flying right now?
He's invincible and goes real fast.
I used to play that Super Mario 3 character that you're using. Was the only one that I ever used.
Oh, that's right! Did he like fly around a little bit or something?
Yeah, he used to press a button and it would like wave his tail. He would fly around in a random shit. It was like one of the first times they did that.
Have you played Splatoon?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, what? Okay. I gotta get Splatoon.
I don't know what Splatoon is.
It's a new Nintendo IP. It's not new as of the Switch. It was on some consoles before that, but it's like this game where you want to cover areas in like paint, and so if you play competitively, then you try to like cover a course in your color of paint, and you like win if you have more paint over the course.
I've played a game like that on Tony Hawk where you gotta go and do a trick on a certain spot, make more points in that spot.
Yeah.
And then there's a timer going.
Yeah.
And whoever has the most points like wins or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or there's also a story mode, but I don't know the story of the universe. The character on Smash is like actually OP for that. But I want to play it because it looks real cute and fun and good to play alone and with other people.
I haven't had as much time as I want to play video games, but also my attention span isn't very good again. Damn it. I'm like...
I guess that's not a bad thing in relation to video games, because then you don't sink an entire day into like playing Red Dead or something.
I used to play like hours and hours at a time, but now I can only play like an hour and a half, 2 hours max. I feel like I just wasted so much time. It's terrible. It sucks.
Did school put that guilt in you?
No, I feel like I used to do that. Like, probably work do that. You gotta work on shit. Before I was doing what I'm doing now, I was like super freelance, where I was like pretty much doing a bunch of shit. Like doing a lot of free shit.
Free freelance?
Pretty much. There's a reason it says there's a free there.
No.
And for some people, But then, you know, you figure out how to do all that stuff, and then what's it called? And then I learned how to manage my funds in a better way, because a lot of it was I was just not paying attention, you know. Damn.
I feel like that's where I'm at, and I'm at a point where I'm like, well, I guess I can't spend money on anything because I can't budget, so I don't get to spend money. How? I'm thankful that most of my clients are people who are not my peers, so I don't feel bad like asking them for money.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the best way, honestly.
Yeah.
Just keep it.
Especially working in like TV and film, it's like, oh, you can afford to pay me like this much money a day. Come on. You're like,
I commend you guys for what you've gone through. Like, I wish I would have. If I could go back, I would learn to do stuff like that. Or
it's not too late. You can teach yourself both of those things on the internet. The World Wide Web is there for you.
I've thought about it. I'm just like, I would have to like quit what I'm. Dang it! It's 2 in a row.
Do you have to quit, or do you just have to do it for like an hour a night?
I guess
5 hours a week. Just work on something.
I guess you're right. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just a bunch of other shit that I try to fit in there for no reason. Maybe you're right. I should try it 1 hour. Just do it. That would be sick.
Especially if it's something you're excited to learn about, then it's like a treat every day. I get my hour of learning time.
A treat every day. I would never have thought. The child version of me would never have thought.
Learning is fun.
Oh my god. It's so true though.
It is true.
It's so nuts. Sometimes I wish I was Swedish.
So we could go to school for free?
Yes. And just have a fucking full year paid off. I met some tourists that were like, yeah, I'm 19. I just got paid. The school is funding a whole year for me to go travel and do stuff.
Damn, what?
Figure out what I was doing. These kids were fucking time.
Just chilling?
Chilling, you know, spending.
Dang.
Doing drugs and shit. I'm like,
that's
fuck
like
yeah,
the Mormon year of evangelizing.
Springer.
Yeah. Whoa, why do you know the name of that?
I just do.
Because I'm a cultured person, Grace. You're not.
Oh, you're a cultured person?
No, I'm not.
I'm cultured. What's it called? What's that movie? Drive? Is that what it's called? Sex Drive? You ever see that movie?
No. What's it about?
It's about this kid who's trying to lose his virginity.
While he's on Wormspringer?
No. What's it called? He's trying to. He's like online dating. And he's been totally in love with this like fake person.
Oh, wait, like.
To go. He's getting catfished.
Oh.
And he's gonna go lose his virginity. And it turns out she's not real, but they end up passing through Amish country. They go to Rumspring. That's all I know about that. But I didn't think it was a real thing.
I worked on a movie that had some Mennonite roles, and I felt like it was really cheap. Actually, Mennonites might watch TV, but I felt like it was cheap to use like that kind of community in a scripted thing because like they can't say whether or not the representations of them are accurate if they're not able to watch the thing.
That's so true.
You know?
Very, very true. And they're not supposed to be watching, so they can't really say anything anyway, right?
Yeah, but that's also a goofy thing of me to say.
What do you think of the people that are like, because if they're not supposed to do that, then why is there people that have like a show that's about it?
Maybe they left the community and they talk about it. That's probably what happens. We had a guy.
No, they're like a reality show and they're dressed up in Amish stuff.
And it's like a real reality show. It's not like a mocky reality show.
It's like you can tell it's fake, but they still do it.
I don't know. Fucking industry.
It's like on like a network TV show.
That sounds gross. I don't
it's like it's like a pawn shop something, but I don't know what it's called, but it's hella weird.
Who's one of your favorite artists or designers? One you learned about in school, and two now.
One that I learned about in school. Fuck, I don't know who I learned about. I don't remember anything from school anymore.
Like 20 years ago?
I learned about this. Okay, hold on. So I learned about the whole. Like I was super into graffiti in high school. And I knew about like the whole Obey dude and like all that shit and like some of the local stuff from here, but I'm trying to think of a designer that I actually learned about. There was this one guy that came in to CCAD to do one of those. They like come up and do like a presentation of the students at like one of the seminar times. Mm-hmm. And he was super laid back. He was like some old surfer guy. And he had like, he showed us a bunch of different kind of work. Like he had stuff that like personal stuff, print stuff. He had like catalog stuff. Like back then it was still super print. It was like our my freshman year was like 2012. I think it was 2011, 2012. And it was like, there wasn't Instagram and all that stuff wasn't huge like that. It wasn't. I don't think there was ads being bought yet.
Oh, okay.
But what's it called? He came in and showed us a bunch of like. It was basically memes before they were memes, but they were just like super simple.
Was that
ads.
Like his personal work?
They were super simple ads, like super simple ads with like white text on it. Be like, these are some things that I'm thinking about using, like just some like the images and pictures. It's just like I'm gonna show you guys a way that I like ideate, and then he showed us some stuff that was like, sometimes I just print stuff and throw it on the floor, go to sleep and wake up, and then I have that idea again, and I'm like, okay, this one's the one. I'm like, what? He was teaching us like ways that he actually, like weird ways that he interacts with his work rather than the ways that he actually makes it. It was weird. Like the ways that he's okay with it rather than this is how I make it. And that was the first time that I was like, oh, so you can just be a chill-ass person and do this. I thought you had to be like super on it and doing the stuff. And I can't remember his name. He was like a magazine. He worked for a magazine. It was like Ray something. Oh man, I can't remember what it was called. Something Ray. Like the magazine was like something Ray. Man, no, it's not Man Ray. It's I can't remember what it's called, but I'll think about it. There's this dude called Jordan Metcalf that I think is pretty good. He does like lettering. I just follow him on Instagram and I think he's pretty cool. He does like, he's done stuff for like Nike and shit and like.
Oh, cool.
He does a lot of like apps and stuff that people do, and he just does like really weird like 3D lettering with programs that he makes. That are pretty cool. They look sweet. They look really sweet. And then sometimes they're just like Illustrator or whatever. I'm trying to think of another designer. Oh, there's this dude. I guess he's more like an illustrator. His name is Robin Valg or something like that. But he does like album covers for people, and then sometimes he does like animations out of them, or he works with people that does animations or that do animations. And that dude's pretty cool. Like he uses super simple lines and like gradients and little textures that are really nice. But the actual artwork isn't like cheesy or whatever. It's like it actually looks good, and it works with the like. It always catches the vibe of the artist that he's working with. But I've noticed that he's at the point where like people come to him for that style now, rather than like.
That's the dream, isn't it?
You know what I mean? Like people are coming to him to do this thing, to make it look like what you make, so you don't have to worry about what I'm saying. Like that's the dream. It's like just make it look like, just do what you do, and we'll make it. I'll give you your money, and that's it. You know, like that's the dream. I feel like It's hard to get to that.
One day.
Get to that point. Yeah, that dude's dope.
Are you cool with this speed, or do you want to go faster?
We can go faster. I'll be down to go hella fast. What am I using? I'm gonna use a good old-fashioned princess. No, not the baby though.
I'm gonna keep it the Mario variant. Oh, dude! Look at super cool Mario on this super sick bike.
Whatever, man. He's not that cool.
Look at Peach's very bike, fucking cool right now.
Look at this bike.
Damn.
I look like I'm about to destroy some shit.
Peach does look very cool right now.
Ooh, I don't know if I should get these orange wheels. Go with these ones. Rid of this purple stuff. Okay, what do we got? I wanted the sunflower before, but now I don't know. I feel like this makes sense.
Sunflower's a cute look.
I'm saving it. I'm trying to decide what I'm gonna put.
Dude.
I love sunflower.
I kind of want to play this one because I've been thinking a lot about Donkey Kong because some of the streamers I like to watch. Or one of the streamers I like to watch, Patrick Gill, he's been playing Dark Souls, but while listening to the Donkey Kong 3 soundtrack, which is like super electronic and minimal and stuff, and it's a really cool vibe.
That sounds awesome.
It is awesome.
I love the water level one from number 1.
Oh, my friend Zach is asking if you've ever considered an artist residency. Zach is he majored in jewelry design in undergrad, and now he's graduated from grad school. Zach graduated from grad school. I think now he's working as a 3D designer, 3D jewelry designer and finisher and fabricator.
Oh, that's really cool.
But yeah, how do you feel about a residency?
It's funny you should say that. I'm trying to figure out how to write one. I want to do one where I want to go to Cuba and do something there. Maybe do something with augmented reality and show them how to... Or not show them how to do it. Yeah, show them how to do it actually, like how to make how to make technology work for you through art rather than like it be a thing that you just post your stuff on. You know what I mean? Like the way that I kind of show people how to do it is you just have to use an app that you have on your phone that you can download on your phone, and it makes your art do something different. Like
whoa, cool.
Something that you make. But anyways, I want to do one in Cuba where I teach people how to do that, but I also want to do something through skateboarding over there because it's like a growing culture that's very popular over there, because it's like it's getting companies to donate shoes and boards and stuff to people over there that don't necessarily have that stuff. Damn it, I'm in the quicksand again. That don't necessarily have that stuff, and I want to go over there and like get to know those people and figure out how I can help and like how I can maybe do a show there or something like that. And I don't know, whatever happens, but definitely thought about it and I want to do it. I just need to learn how to write a grant and do it the right way. Everybody keeps telling me that it's really simple though.
I feel like it's not though. It's like writing a good cover letter that's coming off, that's like saying what you think they want to hear while being genuine, and like doing these two seemingly contradictory things in a balanced way. Damn. It can be really hard.
Well, that's encouraging. Thank you.
Well, sorry, no, but you probably like.
Just kidding. No, thanks.
You probably
honestly
know a lot of people who like can help write grants.
That's very true.
Like that's the point of having a community is so we can help each other.
Figure out how to do it. Plus, like, I keep going to these events or whatever, and they're all just saying like how much they're trying to get rid of money that they have.
Who, like GCAC or what?
Yes, like them. And I'm like,
get off, dude.
I'm gonna just try it. But it's, I mean, there's really not that much going on out here, man. They're probably looking for people to like tell other countries about this place or tell other States.
I feel like
damn it, you're kicking my
I feel like the
now.
Wexner Center is really helping. When I've heard
I'm in last place. Ugh.
When I've heard from people about like when I talk to people from the coasts about Columbus, a lot of times they'll be like football, OSU, and the Wexner Center, especially in the art field. They're like, oh, that's where the Wexner Center is, isn't it? Like, we just had a show opened by John Waters. Yeah.
That's very true.
So I feel like more and more people are realizing that like relying on everything being on the coast is unsustainable.
Very true.
And that like artists are poor and we live in late capitalism, so we're gonna have to like migrate elsewhere.
Yeah, I think a lot of what happens is like the people that live in the Midwestern places that think differently and like want to, this might be a hot take, but that like that can affect the actual change in that area. Like if they don't, like for example, like how a lot of places in Columbus is whatever. Mm-hmm. A lot of the people that we need to do actual voting and doing things in the community, they all move to those western coastal places,
yeah,
New York and all this bullshit,
kind of.
And then we're stuck here with like shit that's we can't do anything about.
Or like I work for a small business, and like we've been talking a lot about developers and how they like work, and they like have friends who are on city council who push their agendas, and or they're like part of these community groups that aren't elected positions but still are able to like dictate really important decisions in the community, like the recent parking stuff in the short north, and it's just like really messed up.
Yeah, it's insane that like tribalism and all the shit that they have there.
Yeah, and how it's just like really, I know GCAC does everything they can to support artists, and I appreciate them for that. But like the Art Makes Columbus campaign really irritates me because it's like there's not a lot of support and funding for artists out here. And if that wasn't just an advertising campaign to draw like yuppies here so they'd think it was some sort of like Brooklyn wannabe culture, and it's its own culture, if there was actually support to like sustain the culture that
it's a huge here. The way that it makes everybody here look, I think those kind of campaigns is like we're all posers, so like
and we
not, just wanna like make everybody feel okay with shit, which is not.
To be fair, the artists I know in that campaign are really great artists who like are amazing.
Yeah, but they're suppressed by people. I know what it's like to work under those people. Like I've worked for that campaign. And
really?
Yeah, and they don't like. You can't do anything. They just like
you can't be creative with it.
No, they want to pander to everyone, so it has to be like it has to be all inclusive, and it ends up being a bland ass thing that makes no sense.
Yeah.
And then the people that
if that just I wouldn't care about that if it didn't if it didn't inadvertently like serve the needs of the developers to like draw yuppies here. Like if they were doing that just for the sake of like trying to be bland and inclusive so they didn't offend anyone, like fine, but the fact that it ties into like this overall like whitewashing thing that's happening is unfortunate.
It's so blatant. It's insane, dude. It's so fast too. I feel like
all this development?
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah, it's wild.
I feel like pretty soon it's just gonna be like a few robots are gonna drop some buildings every now and then.
Yeah, just some Amazon monsters.
It's kind of eerie because it like shows how little like people can do to prevent that kind of stuff or like be included, you know.
I feel like at some point too we're all just gonna eat the rich and it'll be fine.
Thursday. What would you do if there was a
well, before it happened, I would get one of my grandpa's guns to protect myself. And stock up on beans. My brother's like pretty much a prepper, and so I would just ask him what I need.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Oh, what is this thing? Eat them.
Yeah, my friend Zach about the residencies, he just said that it's about the right fit, which I guess is the same case for a job, right? It's like once you get to the point of interviewing, it's more about can you fit into the culture here.
Oh, okay. So you have to be able to bring something back. Is what they're looking to say.
Yeah, they want it to be a reciprocal thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like as long as you have a camera nowadays, you can pretty much get what you need.
Well, hopefully any good residency would be able to weed that out, though.
Yeah, true.
It's like the realness from the fake.
That's the thing is like I'm trying to figure out if I would like work with an art place or like a gallery or like a school or what, you know what I mean? I'm not really sure how that works.
It would be cool to do like a visiting artist thing at a school, but a lot of time, well, in the arts, it's like that comes with the pedigree of like doing residencies and stuff, right? So it's all this sort of cycle that, and like when I was thinking about going to grad school, I was like, do I want to buy into that cycle? And because I was thinking about going to grad school for communications and media studies, and I was like, I don't want to be an academic my whole life. And now I'm thinking about going to grad school again. I don't know if you're still watching, Zach, but this time for filmmaking, because I'm finally at the point where I'm like, okay, well, if I want to get any films made and start a career for myself, then where I can like direct and produce projects that I'm interested in, I need to like go to the right school to connect with the right people to, you know, just get that pedigree to be able to get shit funded. That's like all it comes down to.
Gotta make sure the wallet is okay. Yeah. Kind of sucks, huh?
Freelance life is just maybe get used to the feast and famine. It's rough.
Pretty much. Oh, shit.
Tell me about your podcast.
So it's kind of about me like trying to reconnect with people that I like am close with or that I'm not close with at all that I don't know. But I follow or like we talk on Instagram or we've had like meetings here and there, but never like a long form thing, you know. So I never really get to learn about people unless I follow their stuff. And now it's even harder to because the way the algorithm's set up, you only see about, let's say you have 100 people, you only see 7 of their things, and everything else is like random ads. So then it just falls beneath the wayside, and you never see anybody. Yeah.
Did you start this project before the algorithm changed? 'Cause that was a while ago.
Yeah, it was the longest time ago. I just was trying to figure out. I wanted to do something to like that I could do all my things that I like in one, and it works for one thing. And I ended up working on a podcast because I like to do stuff with my voice. And I've done like little voiceovers here and there, and like I make stuff on the computer, or I'll draw something for it as the artwork, and then meeting somebody and doing something that.
So you make the image for each episode, right?
Yeah.
Damn, that's cool.
Yeah, and I try not to be like I don't get paid for anything. I'm not trying to make money off of it. It's literally just like kind of it's like therapy, but in the sense of like. I don't know.
Just an intimate interaction with someone.
Yeah, but I like at the same time it's super hypocritical because I'm talking about it in social media, but posting it about it and talking to people from it, and I don't know. I'm trying to like, I don't know. It's like it's just I don't know. It's just a self-deprecating complex or some shit. I don't know, but it's kind of turning into its own thing, you know. It's kind of cool. In the sense that I'm like learning more about people.
Yeah, that's the important. If that's a takeaway, rather than like the number of followers or engagement in order to get advertisers. That's what matters, right?
Yeah. So like, what I was trying to say is like, I can just do it whenever the hell I want. I can just, you know what I mean? It's literally a thing that like, when I feel like everything is connecting, then I'll, you know. It's time to do it. I would put it out there. You know, see how people engage with it. If I connect with anyone else, because like a lot of the people that have hit me up afterwards, Because the last couple ones are like, they see it and they're like, hey, I want to have some stuff to talk about. Can we do this?
Nice.
See me around, you know, like, let's do this, you know, and it's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it like allows me to kind of beat that algorithm aspect where you only see 7% of people.
Yeah, and
or
I feel
they
like
only see your shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like we're all trying to live and create things within such like strict structures of things, be it like late capitalism or a failing democracy or like trying to communicate and network within social media, that a lot of times we have no choice but to try to like use the tools of the thing that's like sort of oppressing us to destroy it from within. And that's like a perfectly valid way to approach something. It's not hypocritical to like use social media to talk about your podcast critiquing social media. That's fine.
Yeah. It's just like, it's still like causes me to think of a different way about it, you know. It's kind of weird, but it's been cool at the same time. Like, I'm learning about a bunch of different people and how it interacts with them. Like, for some people it's super positive and very like, you can release stuff, and I'm learning how to, like, I'm learning a better way to, I don't even know, like, understand it as I'm talking to people. And like, it's not that like,
that's interesting too.
You know, it's more of like a, because I use it for, you know, like, what I do is to put stuff on social media and see how much it gets. Like, that's my job is to work for a corporation that makes stuff so it can get a bunch of likes, you know. So like, to see it from both sides, it's weird, because there's like, you know, all the research that's behind it. There's no like veil. It's just there. There's like, I know all the analytics that go behind it, and like the geotagging that happens, and you click it and then it goes to this person and they verify it, it goes to this machine and verifies it in this way, sends it to all these different buckets. Before you know it, you clicked on something, you double tapped, but that double tap turned into like 6 million different beings and 6 million different companies that need your information so they can email you something tomorrow about what you just tapped on. You know, so it's like, that has an effect on the way you actually interact with people. You're used to like kind of being like this and working on stuff like this or working on your computer, and then when you actually see someone, you're like, wait a minute, whoa, this is different, you know. And that's a weird thing. You know, it went really fast from just like being on your computer. You used to take turns to do it. Like, you would wait till your brother got off the phone, and then you'd be like, okay, I got an hour to use this. Yeah. And then if somebody calls, everything I'm doing is fucked. And it's not like that anymore. Now it's just everybody has it all the time. You can hotspot stuff. Like, you have your own little internet with you all the time. But before it was...
Which needn't be a bad thing. Like, anymore, a lot of people talk crap about, like, technological... Do you want to play another round? Yeah. Accelerationist stuff. And I just am constantly thinking, like, it's not about the... It's not the fault of the tools that we use. It's just how we use them that ends up screwing us.
Well, if you pair it with like the propaganda shit that's out there and the stuff that's made just to get clickbait stuff, then it becomes negative right away. And I think we're never going to be educated enough to understand what's really going on with it. Like, not everyone's gonna know what's happening.
So do you think humans are always gonna be, like, taken advantage of?
Yeah, 100%. That's the American way. Like, you take advantage of the person next to you, or you work with them. And technology is making that more evident. Like, all these companies are gonna move in here. All these development people are gonna move in here to get information on those people so they can make more money on the back end. And how are you supposed to think about that if you don't know that what they do? You know what I mean? Like, how are you supposed to know?
Or it's all like too much to parse through for any person who's just trying to like go to work and then go home after work.
Exactly. Then you have to go to work. Like, see, you can't even really think about that shit. There's just too much going on, and spending the extra time that you do have worrying about phone shit, it's hard. And now it's so integrated into everything that it's a necessity. And like, I don't know where it's gonna go, but it's like a double-edged sword where there's so many positives from it and there's so many negatives.
Because it's like a very powerful tool.
Yeah, exactly. Like it turned into this live streaming stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? When this shit came out, it was just pictures.
Yeah. I'm almost like starting to think about how awesome the internet could be if we used it for like just not capitalist means, just like purely as a form of expression and like an egalitarian sharing of knowledge and experience, and how like powerful that could be. And we're just like, as long as we're stuck in this system, we're not gonna fucking do that.
So you can like do and pretty much say whatever you want, do whatever it wants. But
yeah, and if we all like came from a place of like trying to love and understand one another rather than just like prove each other wrong. Not to put the onus on the users, because I don't think that's fair. It's on the developers too, and on the advertisers. And
yeah, that it doesn't help that like we're only gonna see the stuff that makes us sad or mad or whatever.
Yes.
It just doesn't help. Like, we need to see the things that are gonna help us understand other things.
Yeah.
You know, if you only see what you like, then before you know it, what you like is nothing. Or
see what you engage with, and that's why like hate posting gets so much attention, because people engage with it. Yeah, exactly. Or like fake, this person just got hit, or like there's gonna be like shows you like the frame before, and like I don't know. It's weird. There's just a bunch of stuff that like it's weird to think of so many people having their own little reality all at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and then you actually see it.
Perception of
Yes, because think about it. If you have 10,000 followers, your life is different than mine.
Yeah.
No matter how you say it. Or if you have 100,000 or 6 million. So like, you know what I mean? Like, before you know it, people are like, oh, you're actually valuable in a sense that I can sell more product, so I'm gonna work with you. And like, knowing all of that makes it hard for me to engage with it. And I'm trying not to feel as much that way because like, there's just so much that goes into it that doesn't make logical sense to me, you know?
Yeah, because you actually like value the human experience rather than the capital of the human experience.
I guess.
This is why, like, I don't want to fetishize Cuba, but I wonder if you are able to actually get to Cuba, like, what if you're able to sort of pick up on this whole different, like, outlook?
I mean, I have in other places. Like, I travel as much as I can, and that's why I'm so, like, I want to make this place like that as much as I can, because like, I want to raise kids and shit someday and do shit and have to show people, like, I've affected the actual environment around me, but it's hard to do that in a place like New York or LA where there's so much shit around already that you can't really do anything unless you like have millions of dollars. So I mean, I don't know. It's just
I'm friends with influencers in New York who have like around the tens of thousands of followers, and they still like struggle to pay rent. Like,
yeah, but there's so many more people there. So like if here I feel like it's different, or like in smaller places where you're like, if there's 100,000 people in your town and 80,000 or 30,000 of them follow you, you're gonna be a pretty big deal in your town, and that definitely happens. Like there's other countries like I think it was Indonesia or in Morocco where governments are like, people that are running, it's just like Trump, like people that are famous from social media are in their government now because they got voted in and they can't say shit about it. Shit like that.
Horrifically powerful thing.
It's insane. It's straight up Black Mirror. Like, it's a fucking instruction manual.
I watched the episode of...
I'm super into conspiracy shit, by the way. I feel like I can go on about this forever.
I mean, how conspiratorial is it though? I feel like it's not that conspiratorial. My brother and I had a heated argument about this because he's a software developer and he's libertarian, but he was like, I felt like an outsider in Silicon Valley because Google is run by a bunch of like severely liberal people, and I was like,
severely liberal?
Well, that's the way I'm phrasing it. But I'm like, okay, that doesn't change the fact that they might accidentally write their internal biases into their code. Like, that's a thing that happens. And if it's like a bunch of white developers surrounded by white developers, they're not gonna like help each other address their biases.
They're not gonna even notice them.
And when the value of those algorithms is like get more attention, then that like, you know, obviously polarizes stuff. So that people, the things that get the most attention are like the most shocking things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And we basically like at the end of this argument where I sounded conspiratorial because I was saying that like YouTube is driving kids who are watching gaming content to like white supremacist videos because sometimes gamers can be white supremacists, and like PewDiePie is a good example. I don't know if he's a white supremacist exactly.
But he's been caught like saying shit.
Yeah.
I was reading about it.
I get them. No other things mixed up. But so like for me, YouTube recommended PewDiePie before we went live. It was like, oh, you're into gaming stuff. Maybe you'd be interested in this popular gamer, and that's just like, that's a faulty algorithm. That's not the content I want to see. You're not doing it right.
That's insane. Yeah, I sometimes I feel like I would rather have a random mixture of things every time, because then it allows me to be like,
I feel like there should be like child safe mode that's just bland and like rated PG. Mm-hmm. And then there should be like bias mode that's like affirm my bias.
That's
and
hilarious.
And then there should be like random mode that's just whatever.
Very true. Yeah, I don't know. I think that would work. It'd be funny as shit though to see like a fake ass internet that's just like nothing around. But I think it should be more like you get to see whatever you want all the time, but you have to be held accountable somehow in the way that you say shit, so that it's not
like the person who's
that's
streaming?
like instant. It's like right there. It's like I'm gonna say something and like everybody's gonna know right here, and you're gonna see it in real life, rather than you say something, turn your phone off, or like put it away and you go about your day and then come back to it later and start again. It has to be like all right there. I feel like there's no real solution. It's gonna be
nobody knows the solution. If we were able to actually like try these solutions, we could all
real.
maybe come up with something that would work, but we don't have the power to do that.
It's too like it's still growing. It's too new for what it.
It's way too new. It's like an atomic bomb, dude. We had no
changed
idea what we were doing.
It made everything harder for everyone. So much harder.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like for people that are studying therapy or like psychology and all that stuff.
Like kids are having a profoundly different experience growing up than we had.
Oh my God.
I do not envy them these days.
Apparently they're way more depressed.
Yeah, like when you have access to all that information but not the like emotional armor to be able to understand like how to not let shit bother you, that's, I don't know.
Sometimes I feel like it always happens that way though.
Like
people
every
before
generation
us,
yeah.
The generation before us were probably like, yeah, I heard they're way more depressed now. You know, they probably had the same conversation. It just changes, the tools and shit change. And it gets more intense. Right, it gets more intense. But I never heard the games leading to white supremacy.
Oh yeah, that's a well-founded thing. And like other kind of nerd content too. And what ends up happening is like parents don't supervise what their kids are watching on YouTube, and then these kids just go down these like feminism is cancer YouTube holes, and they believe it because they like, it sounds like it makes sense, and they don't know how to interrogate ideas, and they don't have their own experience to compare those ideas with. And these edgelords make, like, emotional arguments that appeal to the insecurities that, like, adolescent people can feel. And then they end up, like, at kitchen dinner one night, or at family dinner one night, being like, yeah, feminism is cancer, and their parents are like, either like, what are you talking about? Like, what happened to you? I warned my siblings about that, and, like, some of them keep letting their kids just, like, do whatever on the internet.
Yeah, no.
Not my computer programmer brother, because he knows how the internet is.
Right,
but
he knows how to actually work internet stuff. He knows the magic, there's no veil. Like, once you know all that stuff, it's really hard to...
Well, he doesn't believe me about, like, that specific issue, but he does know to, like, not let his kids use the internet unsupervised for a long time. But then it's like... I was
definitely looking up some weird shit as soon as I had internet to myself. So I cannot imagine if I had a phone when I was 6 or 7 years old. Can you imagine?
Who does that?
The shit that I would have gotten into? Are you kidding me? I used to run it like I knew how to get around my city like it was nothing. And
like without the mapping program?
Without mapping, without anything, I just knew how to get around. Because it was really easy. You learn how to ride buses and shit and trains.
Where'd you grow up?
In Massachusetts, in Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay.
In Salem, and then in Lynn, and then we moved here. But like, you learn how to ride all that shit, and you learn how to like run around your town, and like, I feel like kids don't even know how to do that anymore. Like, you even run around outside.
It's so scary because like, what are you gonna do? Like, what if your phone dies or gets stolen or something? Like, you're screwed.
Yeah, dude.
Here's the titular Rainbow Road.
Damn, I'm gonna fuck this one up real hard. Alright, let's do this. Did you grow up in Columbus?
Yeah, for the most part. We moved here when I was 2, but I was born in Sleepy Hollow, New York.
Oh, you're from New York, huh?
Yep. My dad grew up in the Bronx.
No, for real? Where in the Bronx?
I don't know. Somewhere near Riverdale? Maybe in Riverdale? Yeah. Not like Bronx.
What's it called? That's what I'm It all looks super... Dang. I was gonna go right through that for some reason.
Through the big bow wow?
Yeah, I don't know why I thought I was just gonna fly right through it. New York is awesome. I don't know if I would have been able to live there. I'm sure I would have been able to live there just fine. But
yeah, I think you just fine.
That's a lot.
It's hard for a sensitive being. I lived there like a year ago, and then I moved back here because my mental health was just like horrible. Because I was working too much. But I'm about to move back with my partner.
Okay. You gonna do it up?
Yep. My family's like, what are you doing?
That's
just
lit.
like,
that's awesome.
We're gonna support each other and like push each other to actually build our own lives there.
That's awesome.
So I won't just like end up.
So you're the person that I was just talking about a few minutes ago.
So with what?
The voting shit and like people.
Oh, and leaving? Like, yeah, I was lucky.
I wish people. I mean, if they just came back here, stayed registered, and like come back to vote. If we could do that online, it'd be way easier.
Well,
so it's
I can't do that because I need health insurance in New York, so I need a residency there. Sorry. That's a big reason I'm moving back. Is one, I can't find enough work here, and 2, I can't like It's far easier for me to get the New York State health insurance than deal with Medicaid here. Like, I tried applying for Medicaid and I don't know what happened.
I got there.
You have beat me like most of these times.
No, that's not true.
You have beat me most of these times.
There's a record here somewhere. There's no way. Did you ever play Mario 64?
Super Mario 64? Yeah. A little bit. I don't think I ever beat it.
And stuff.
That's a classic, though.
Really hard.
Strong vibe, that game.
It was really hard. Those hard-ass edges. That's another thing. Video games become so fucking fun. It blows my mind.
I'm excited to see where they go. I'm excited for gaming. I know it's a fraught industry, but I'm excited to see what happens.
It's Sure fun. See? You won. Yeah, 44 points.
Usually I beat everybody every time. So...
That's your thing? You beat everybody?
No, I've just literally put 50 hours into this game doing this podcast.
50 hours. That's insane.
Is there anything else you want to plug or talk about? Or?
I wish I had enough shit going on to plug something. What's it called?
I'll plug the Cart Pushers Residency. They do money.
Cart Pushers?
Cart Pushers?
Cart Pushers.
Yeah, it's at Millworks. It's my friends Ken and Misty. They provide studio space for an artist for like 2 or 3 months maybe, and then 1 meal a week. And it's like been a really transformative experience for a lot of artists to just have the time and space to be able to make stuff, especially like artists who can't afford to even apply for residencies, let alone like actually go to them. Yeah, so a lot of my friends have done a residency through them, and they need help with the rent. So,
dude, if I just got the ticket there and like the letters and the go ahead to like get across to Cuba, it would be so chill. And if I had a grant, it'd be way
good fucking luck. Maybe try in like 2020.
Yeah, but if I had a grant, it'd be way. I know people that have gone. If I just had a grant, I think it would help.
You should apply for the professional development grant at GCAC.
Try that shit. It'd be fun.
Plug GCAC, plug the show at the Wex.
Go to APEG, _.apeg on Instagram.
I'll put that in there.
That's gonna be chill. Listen, I got some dude coming up. His name is Twong Creates on Instagram. He does like, he's a musician and he's pretty lit. So I talked to him last episode. He's actually sat in here and we talked. Sometimes I like shoot it here or I'll go to the place. I want to run this idea by you. I want to do like, I want to make part of the, when I get to the point where I can do like videos and like record the actual podcast or whatever, I want to see if I can make it like, shoot it in a nice way to like make it about the space and the person that I'm interviewing and make it about how they make stuff in that space or like how they live in that space and how that works with.
Do you want to edit it or do you want it to like just be
I'll probably edit it. I mean, I don't really have like a timeline for it. I want to just like, if I get to that point where I can just record it, maybe have like a live thing going on, but or like a
That's
Instagram
the nice thing
thing.
about live stuff is like you don't really
have to edit shit. Yeah, but I saw you set up, and I would never be able to set up that fast. I would never be able to set up that fast and like do all of that and understand what's going on. I was mostly just nodding to what you were saying. It's really hard to understand. Like if you asked me to set this up, I would just walk out of the room. But I want to do it so that it's like I can edit it and make it look cool or like
just shoot stuff. Just figure out how to use Premiere or Final Cut or whatever and just shoot stuff.
I know how to use that stuff. It's just it's just like,
and then I would say like shoot and edit for a little bit. Try to make a couple videos to like figure out, one, to like figure out your own narrative style, and two, to figure out what you're doing wrong so you can more easily like pinpoint where you need to like fix your process and learn and grow.
True.
Rather than like trying to teach yourself a whole video 1 class all at once. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give that shit a shot. Like, I mean, that's what I pretty much do with everything. It's like I try to do it first for a little while and then kind of debut something or really focus on one. I'll see what happens. That's kind of one idea that I've had with it. But.
The most concrete tip I would give is like do a little bit of research on how to use available light to make things look good and how to like frame and block things to use the light that's there, because bringing in lighting or like augmenting lighting is a huge pain in the butt.
Yep.
And if you know how to just like even frame things or angle your subject and what's going on relative to the available light to make it look good, that it just makes things so much easier.
I've seen people do like, they'll provide a space, right? So like there's one that I watch they sit their guests in the same spot every time, and there's a bookshelf in the back, and they just change what's on the bookshelf to match the person.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's super easy.
That's a good way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But
or like here, I always have the camera there and the light there, pretty much. Yeah. Every time. Maybe it doesn't look good, but after a while, when I think of something that will look good, then
that's smart.
I'll change it.
That's dope, bro.
And I like going to people's spaces because, I think it'll get boring in my space, but also I think it'll be good for the viewer to like connect something to a specific person.
Well, the way that I think about it, because I kind of feel that way too.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of the time I'm bummed when they're like, no, I'll just come over to your house. I'm like, oh, okay, well, shit. Mm-hmm. I also act differently. When I'm at someone else's house, I feel like I have more questions and I'm like more trying to figure out, because you can see stuff that they can't see. So you're like, okay, you can make different assumptions and ask me stuff. But I feel that same way when I'm in your chair. So I'm like, I want to turn it into something where the viewer should get that, but at the same time maybe not, or like get more of a glimpse into what they make rather than being like, go to this link or do this or do that. Just have it all right there, you know.
I'd say follow that instinct because you're prioritizing it sounds like you're prioritizing like the storytelling above everything else. Yeah. Above like convenience and comfortability and stuff, and that's what's important. And you're like, you know what you need to do to like push yourself or make yourself available to asking questions and like getting as good of an interview out of somebody as possible. Yeah. Which is another thing we have in common. Is like not only the interviewing thing and the podcasting thing, but I also like my background is in documentary filmmaking, and a lot of that is figuring out how to like pull the interesting things out of people.
That is really weird. If we would have
now I'm uncomfortable.
If we would have met in school, it wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah, no way.
I was a way different person back then. Like,
same.
I don't know. I was way more. I feel like I was maybe a little more shut off or
I was
whatever.
More of an asshole because I was compensating for stuff. And I was insecure and afraid of making myself vulnerable to other people.
100%. And like there was more of a being in that environment all the time makes you want to live up to something or like put something in the wrong.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You like have this idea of like this is what a successful artist or designer looks like and acts like and is like. And I'm so glad I don't buy into that. And one of the greatest things about being queer is that I like have to figure out how to define myself for myself, because like I can pull things from different role models, but there's no one person who I'm like, I want to be like that person.
Yeah. And it's always been really weird thinking, like hearing from other people like, oh yeah, I can relate with that person 100%. Like, how do you relate
with anybody 100%?
How can you do that?
Like I get this one aspect of
that's insane. Like a lot of relationship. I grew up Catholic.
Me too.
And oh my god. So I grew up Catholic, right? And that shit was insane. I'm like, from the get-go, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Just gaslighting yourself and your loved ones.
Yeah, I'm like, why do I always gotta be depressed? Like, I don't want to go to church. This is annoying. And like, people would like pretend that they were like hit with the spirit and shit and like do this.
Oh, I wasn't that kind of Catholic.
I'm like, I was Hispanic and Roman Catholic at some points, and it was like, it was weird. Like people were mean all the time, and they felt like they were righteous and had had like because they were okay with God, they could do whatever the hell they want. And I'm like, you're making it harder for us to like want to be here and talk to you and learn and trust you. Like, I don't understand how you can tell yourself that you're so, like, you know everything, you believe everything in this book and these people and this figure, but you don't believe in what I'm saying.
When, like, the modern way that we read the book to learn about the figure is, like, not accurate.
And it's not a bad book. Like, if you look at it objectively and you look at it in a way that's, like, the way it's written and, like, the stories that are actually in there, and if you never knew about extreme religion and you read the book, you could get some positive things out of it, or you can get
some like wicked battles and like
exactly. It becomes more like reading Game of Thrones or reading like Lord of the Rings instead of reading the fucking Like, you think...
Lord of the Rings is an interesting example because he develops his own universe and world and mythology and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, when you think of it that way, it becomes more of like, a different way to be interested in it. But when it's like, you're using it as a crutch and like telling people how to live their life.
Or even like reading it with a historical context rather than like a belief system context. Like, there's this guy named Rob Bell, and he like, and then there's also this Franciscan friar I really like, and they talk about like the historical context that Jesus lived in, and like how radical he actually was in like what we would today call like a socialist way, or like lift up the poor and the hungry and the needy, and like hang out with prostitutes and like forgive people. Like, it's still a radical message if you actually like listen to what he was saying.
It's insane. It's insane. And like,
this is the edgy content.
When you have people telling you to believe it a certain way and you're interpreting it a different way, then you have
when you listen to anybody tell you how to believe anything in any way, not even religiously, like design wise, like this is what good design is and why.
Master, bro.
And it's like you learn the rules in order to break them, right?
Pretty much. You learn to observe what you're being oppressed by, or what, in all senses of the word, not just like legal or societal, but like mentally and whatever the fuck it is. You learn how to observe that about yourself, and then you realize you're in a cage, and you're like, I gotta get the fuck out. Like, this is just not right.
And how convenient is it that like all these belief systems, even not religious, just like social belief systems, like shove messages down our throats so we don't learn to like think for ourselves.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying with the social media shit. Is like it becomes more of a funnel. It's like you're on your phone or whatever. It's right there in your pocket. You're not realizing that your veins are fucking up because of the radiation that you have in your phone, in your pocket all the time.
Or like, I get pretty liberal messaging all the time that tells me one thing, but it's really hard for me to like second guess, is that the actual truth? Because it would be much easier to like believe that what they're telling me is the truth and the whole truth.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I'll ad block my parents, my mom specifically, social media, because she'll get random right-wing stuff all the time.
Oh damn, really?
For no reason. And like shit that is really offensive to her.
Damn.
And I'm like...
And she like doesn't know what ad block is or how to use it?
She doesn't know how to use none of that stuff. So I'll get to her phone and it'll be like 100 pages open all the time.
Jesus.
And I'm like, how do I make this more... How do I get this to be less of a complicated thing for her? Because if she's on this, somebody could get her social, somebody could get her information. She's into the lottos and shit like that. So it's like, when you think about older people using this shit, it affects them that way too. It's like there's a lot of that negative stuff in that point, in that sense. So like, it's different for early adapters that understand that like we're in the perfect middle between all of this. Like, we can tell the kids, hey, don't take it too seriously. We can tell, monitor the older people who don't understand what's going on and are very susceptible to fraud. So it's like, it becomes a thing that we have to talk about, or it's going to get misconstrued and used the wrong way, which it already does. But if we don't do anything about it, it's going to get worse. So like in China, they're using it to rape people now. Like, rape, you can't get a loan.
R-A-T-E?
To rape people. My bad. So
no, like, I was like, what?
they if you have tickets and like, what's it called? Like, you're not paying your loans, or you're not paying this, you're not doing that, then they'll put your shit on a billboard and be like, don't lend to this person, or don't let this person in your establishment. Like, they'll put you on blast in real life.
That's so
crazy. When it turns to that, then what do we do? What do we...
Yeah.
You know, it's different when things are on everybody's phones, because you can... It's still public and everybody can still see it, but it's not in real life. But if you posted shit and every once in a while you saw your thing on the screen in real life, you would be a little weirded out. You'd be like,
I
wait a minute.
Wouldn't post anything ever again.
What if Instagram had a screen downtown and they just posted shit all the time?
Actually, I would post I would probably make more art and post more of that to try to get someone to pay me to make art, but
still, technically they could do that. They could just put up a screen anywhere for your shit. Last thing though.
Okay.
Did you see the plagiarism thing that happened to Matt?
Matt who?
So he like built something.
What?
One of the teachers at CCD, he built something. That thing that's the As We Are thing at the convention center.
The head thing?
Yeah, and it got copied like to the as much as you can. They built the same thing.
Wait, where? Because I feel like I've seen it somewhere else.
He posted about it. He put he built the head that projects people's faces in the convention center, and then he made a post about a thing in China, a museum.
Oh.
Remade it and put like a body to it, and like they would cover into people's face on the top of like an Asian emperor or something.
Oh damn.
And they didn't tell him about it. Nothing. And he's like.
He probably can't do anything about that, huh?
I don't know. What happened in that situation? What do you think happened in that situation? Like what?
I don't know if it would be worth suing, because then you need like an international lawyer. In China, I don't know. Chinese.
It's a whole
it
different
might be
thing,
a little
right?
bit xenophobic of me, but like it is a whole different thing.
I've been thinking about it, and it's like it's a whole other system that we have no interaction, no connection with at all.
I work at a media company where I have to like figure out who people are, and increasingly at fashion weeks there are more and more people from like Eastern countries who are coming to New York for fashion week, and for like Chinese people it's really impossible to figure out who they are, because even if we get like the pinyin spelling, which is like the Chinese characters to the English.
I took Chinese in high school.
Are
you serious?
Are you serious? We are never talking ever again.
Are we the same person?
This is horrible. This is so uncomfortable, and I really don't like it. I really don't like it.
This happens to me so much. It's annoying.
Are you this never ever happens to me.
Dude, this has happened to me like
to a fucking T. I took
insane.
Chinese for 3 years in high school.
I took 4 because I grew up. My first language was Spanish, and I took Spanish in middle school, and I learned how to write it and all that shit. And then when I got to high school, I was like, well, I'll take Chinese because I've never seen that anywhere. And then I ended up I had like an extra period to fill, but since I was in sports, I just put a class into it, and I took Spanish, like the last Spanish, and I just sticked around in that class. But yeah, I had to learn pinyin, and then we learned how to do the traditional characters and the simplified ones, and like different sentence structures.
So like from the pronunciation, I can tell how in English letters how to like look up somebody, but because they're like Chinese and our internets don't cross over, I like can't verify that is who it is.
That's very true. So anybody can just do whatever they want. It's intense.
Well, we already sometimes look problematic because people don't do their due diligence in their job, and we try to rectify that as quickly as possible, but sometimes it's hard. But it's especially difficult when like we can't quadruple check that somebody is who they say they are, and so we just don't end up putting that person's likeness on the internet, and then that continues to like feed the cycle of making it more difficult for them to like be on our internet.
Yeah. So then that makes it just harder to be like, okay, well, you copy our shit, so what do we do about it?
Well, so then not only do these internets not cross over to like make it easier to share information, but also confirm that information has been shared. But like, how do you even like do the IP rights cross over? Like, is it a patented thing? Like,
right? They have their own internet. They have their own.
I just have no. I honestly have no idea. I don't know.
There's just I don't know, man. There's so much going on. There's so much like. It bums me out to think about that, because like if I ever got like I've had my stuff copied in real life, but not on a digital thing. Like, and not even in a crazy sense, like in the sense of like I'm working on something, somebody over here is working on something, and we do the same thing, like, or like somebody copies my shit for one of my projects or something like that. But it's never like I put it out there, somebody saw it, and then they put it out there and took it as their own thing. It's never been anything like that. But I can never imagine that happening in real life, and like seeing that happen. You can't do shit about it. Like you're just like, Like, what? It's a whole nother... Like, what do you even... Say everything does go your way. Like, how does that... What is that way? You know, like, do other people get in trouble? Do they go to jail? Do they pay me money? Like,
or, like, put a little plaque up that's like, this was inspired by this artist's piece. Go check it out.
Right. Is it as simple as that? Like... I don't know. That's...
Because it doesn't necessarily always need to be, like, a super negative outcome, right? It's like a third way kind of a thing. You can take it down, or you can get paid for the IP, or you can, like, find the third way and be like, let's learn from each other and, like, expose each other's audiences to each other's project or something. I don't know.
That would have been that should have been the first way, though, is the thing.
Yeah, well, humans are stupid.
Like, and then how do you expect... Like, how do you copy something that is social based, though? Like, you make something and then it puts it out there.
So it's not, to an extent,
like, it makes something. Like, you go to it, you interact with it, and it makes an image. People usually they see a big ass thing. We're gonna take a picture, put it on Instagram. Of course.
Well,
like,
usually
how do you
there's
do that?
Yeah.
It's really hard to get away with shit like that now. I think.
I mean, usually people know, like, who designed the work or made the piece, or, like, can track down that information. But when it's just, like, ripped off, like, I don't know. There's a similar thing with fashion, right?
Oh, what do you mean?
I don't know, like, people ripping stuff off.
That's true.
But usually the rip-offs are a direct relation to the original thing, so, like, there's some attribution.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, I have to pee.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna wrap up the show.
Good luck. I keep forgetting the camera's there.
That's
it's
good.
Insane. It's insane. Yeah, it's weird.
That's the other good thing about a webcam is it's very small.
Yeah, I can't even tell. I keep getting confused.
It's spying on us.
I know. We talk about all this shit and then we do it to ourselves. So we're like, fuck it. Let's make money off of it ourselves, or let's get in on the action. You know what I mean? Like, instead of having other people do it anyways, you might as well just do it and, like, make it a good thing.
Yeah.
Rather than... And I think that's where it's gonna go, like...
Well, and then it's like, what's your motivation for making work in the first place, right? Yeah.
But I think it could be, like, a thing where you want to set apart, you want to be, like, you want to be different, you can do what everybody else is doing, but make it your own so that you can relate to people. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, but you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. You can use that wheel, but just ride it differently. Make people notice you differently for it, rather than go crazy. And I think what's wrong with what social media is right now, or what's a growing problem, is that younger kids are getting a different... They're all, like, aspiring to live up to this thing that isn't real. And, like, we've all had that. We've dealt with that. But, like, puberty, for example. Rita brought this up, my last guest, before Aaron. She said it affects... Like, kids nowadays aren't going through that awkward stage. Or maybe they are, but it's different. But from 6th to 9th grade, you're a random kid. You wear whatever the fuck you wear. You, like, go out every day still. You're still kind of a kid. You still do whatever. But now it's different. Now you have YouTube and you can look up how to put makeup on the right way. Or to look like Kim Kardashian. Or to, you know, do these crunches so you can look like this kid.
Gross.
You know what I mean? Like...
Gross.
There's this huge culture now of people, like, they go to the gym just to get squats, just to do squats and, like, look nice on Instagram. You know, like, it's weird to see that happen. To, like, as somebody who grew up without social media, it's weird to see that as a real thing. Like, I know to them it's a normal thing because everyone's doing it, but when you know what it was like before, you're just like, this isn't not normal. When
you're young and you just socially, like, mess up, and, like I said a lot of crappy things when I was a kid, and, like, getting that real-time interpersonal response of, like, hey, what you said was messed up, and, like, having to feel that shame and apologize for that is, like, much different than saying something messed up. People, like, make fun of you online and don't give you that interpersonal feedback, and, like, the record of you saying that messed up thing is like out in the world forever.
Yeah, there's gonna be in 20 years, all those kids are gonna be pissed. A lot of people are gonna be like.
Or hopefully we'll just get used to like, okay, before you're 18, anything you say like.
Who says they're not gonna put a legislation in that says if you did this on social media before this time, you can't run for this.
It's probably not going to be legislated. It's just going to be a bunch of like hardcore liberals who are like,
but
"Oh,
still,
you're racist forever." Because
that could be that could be a thing. Like that's gonna be a thing where people are like,
that's why
but in high school you did this, in college you did this, and people should get reprimanded for it. But like, what does that system look like? Mm-hmm. How does that actually work in real life? Mm-hmm. Are you gonna have to watch what you do all the time? Are you gonna have to like, who knows? Are you gonna have to figure out, always have a camera on you so you can be like, no, look, this is what I actually did, you know? So like, at what point?
I mean, it is also possible that we're just like, hey, this is all dumb. Let's like reel it all back.
That is very true.
Or like make my accounts private, and like only let my 5 close friends follow me or something.
Remember my favorite 8 or whatever like that?
Yeah.
Top 8.
Yeah.
Then that creates like drama though. Why am I not your top 8? Remember that?
I feel like the kids who I know, now granted these are a lot of like artists' children, are pretty chill about all this stuff, and they're like, oh, it's just, I don't do it. It's dumb, I don't want to do it. Yeah.
I mean, hopefully there's like a growing culture of people just like, I'm not doing this shit. Mm-hmm. And I think that's good. I think that's a step in a different direction, which is good.
Because then it's not regressing necessarily, it's identifying that the thing's crappy and like rising above it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like back then everybody used to use, if you think about it from an ad perspective, again, you like, back then people used a bunch of different ways to communicate with people, and it was paper, mostly paper stuff, but they would apply that in different ways, like business cards, whatever. But now it's just a thing, a video or a photo you see on your phone. So like everything has to be so much more amplified and so much more whatever. But at some point, it's going to be the new norm. So then after that's over, what's the newest extreme thing?
Well, VR, right?
Newest, yeah. But I would go as far as to say is it's the same in the actual content and the subject matter and the way it affects people, because if like, it's like building up a tolerance. You build up a tolerance to super extreme shit, and after a while that doesn't mean anything, and then it turns into another thing. Yeah. But I'm not gonna hold you. I feel like I can keep going forever.
Okay. Have me on your podcast.
I will. I can't wait.
Even if we don't do it before the end of February, I'll come back.
I got you. It would be fun to do one in New York. There's another person over
there
that
come hang out. Yeah.
There's a few people over there I want to talk to.
Yeah, do it.
It's been a while since I've talked to them in real life. Dude, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for watching, Zach.
Thanks, dude.
Good questions, good work. You get an A+ for the assignment. I'm proud of you.
Oh, nice. The first A I've gotten in years. I think.
Y'all have fun, be safe, respect each other, and be kind. All right, bye.